What is the true meaning of an encounter? The light is hazy, like in a Van Gogh painting. The sound of a cello, deep and melancholic. 3 people sit around a wooden table. A poet, lost in thought with a collection of Rumi's poems. A nun from the Catholic tradition, holding a Bible. And an Eastern scholar, softly fingering prayer beads. The Eastern scholar, slowly. What is the true meaning of an encounter? That question is as old as humanity itself. In the Vedas, Hinduism teaches that souls meet because of karma. Every meeting is about repaying a debt, repaying love, or repaying pain. The poet turning a page of Rumi. Rumi writes, "Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They are in each other all along. Meeting is not a coincidence, but like 2 drops of water from the same river. In 1001 Nights, Shahrazad meets King Shahryar to save the daughters of her land. Her encounter is a mission, to transform brutality with gentleness." The nun, placing her hand on the Bible. In the Old Testament, the meeting between Ruth and Naomi is a symbol of loyalty. The daughter-in-law stays with her widowed mother-in-law. They meet so that no one is alone. Jesus meets the Samaritan woman at the well. That encounter frees her from the chains of the past. To meet is to forgive, to see each other through the eyes of compassion. The Eastern scholar, nodding. Buddhism speaks of dependent origination. We meet because of conditions, like a leaf touching the surface of a lake. There is no randomness, only cause and effect. In Marquez's 100 Years of Solitude, the Buendia family meets within the same bloodline, but it is loneliness that truly allows them to touch one another. To meet without understanding is merely 2 shadows passing by. The poet, sing-song. Do you remember The Alchemist by Coelho? The boy Santiago meets Fatima in the desert. That encounter is not a destination, but a promise for him to continue his journey. To meet is to realize that we are incomplete, that we need another half to become whole. Plato had the myth of those who were cut in 2. They meet to rediscover a single unity.
None. But in the New Testament, agape love transcends romance. We meet to serve, as Christ washes the feet of his disciples. He meets Peter, who will deny him 3 times, yet that encounter remains full of grace. Because a true meeting is when we are ready to see another's pain and say, "I am here." Eastern scholar, clicking a bead, Lao Tzu wrote, "The great Tao is invisible. A true meeting needs no words." In Kerouac's On the Road, journeys bring together wandering souls. They meet to witness impermanence together. Likewise, in Greek mythology, Orpheus meets Eurydice. That encounter makes him dare to descend into the underworld, because love great enough can conquer death.
Poet, hand on his heart. The real meaning? Perhaps it is transformation. In War and Peace, Pierre meets Platon Karatev in the prison camp. That simple man completely changes Pierre's worldview. Sometimes we meet someone only for a moment.
Yet they leave a mark for a lifetime. As Dostoevsky said, to meet is to realize that each person carries an entire universe inside them.
None. In monasteries, monks do not meet to chat, but to pray together. They meet like oil lamps, lighting each other's darkness. The Buddha meets his disciples. That encounter awakens wisdom. And St. Augustine once said, Love is the weight that pulls souls toward each other. A true meeting is when that weight does not crush, but lifts. Eastern scholar, therefore, the meaning of an encounter is not in its length, but in its truth. Existential philosophy calls this the authentic encounter, when we no longer wear masks, when we drop our defenses. As in Saint Exupéry's The Little Prince, the prince meets the fox, and that encounter teaches him the lesson of taming. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Suddenly, the lamp on the table flickers off, then on again. All three look toward the glass window. The sky is beginning to lighten. Poet, we, right now, are meeting. Is this coincidence? Or is it a small exercise of the universe to remind us that every meeting, whether with a stranger in a cafe, with a character in a book, or with ourselves in silence, is a miracle?
None said, "To meet is to love unconditionally, but also to learn how to let go. Because some meetings last only for one season of blooming flowers, yet they awaken us forever." Eastern scholar, standing up, bowing slightly. Thank you for this meeting, like a symphony between the Vedas, the Bible, Rumi, and Marquez. The true meaning of an encounter, I say, is this: to realize that we are not alone on this planet. To know that even with impermanence, even with suffering, love remains the single red thread running through all scriptures and all hearts. All three fall silent, looking at each other. And in that moment, they understand that tonight's meeting has changed them forever. The light of day floods into the cafe. The sound of a church bell rings softly in the distance as a final affirmation. Every meeting is a blessing if we only learn to see it through the eyes of gratitude.